Hey hello all, welcome to Science Books Review. In this video I'm going to review House of Dragons Season 2 by HBO, and I have finished watching this series 2 weeks back. I didn't actually get the time to make the video on this. So without further ado, let's get into the video. And my overall experience for the Season 2 is slightly disappointing in my eye. And this season may feel okay for a lot of viewers. For the general audience, they may actually love this one, but for me it is slightly disappointing. And overall I got a need to say the showrunners got failed in their screenplay writing, and and everyone must accept that. And they had the necessary time to make the screenplay a bit more interesting for the viewers. And 2 years isn't really very long time, and they can be able to spend a lot of time on getting into the script and working on it again and again. And actually they have failed down here. The screenplay is not actually worth watching at all. And in case if you don't know, this is not an adaptation of a novel. This book and this series is an adaptation of a book named Fire and Blood, where the prehistoric events has been described and short detail. And whether it is the show is good or not, it entirely falls on the screenplay writers, not on the actual book author George R. R. Martin. On either case, whether it is good or bad, it entirely falls on them. And this season is actually okay, but why it felt really very disappointing is the first season of House of Dragons is somewhat really very perfect in my eye, and there are a lot of difficulties they got a need to face while writing the screenplay, because they have been jumping upon the timeline, right? And they nearly 50 years been passed while describing all the events in the House of Dragons season 1, and they got a need to give importance to a lot of characters being out there. And they have done a really very fair job. And Alicent, Rhaenyra, and Viserys, Daemon, and at some extent Aegon and Aemond, everyone's character does look really very good in my eye. But in this season 2, everyone's character is somewhat really very bland, and the show is not progressing in the desired direction. And they are altering a lot of contents from the book too. And yeah, overall a big disappointment for me, and I do expected something really very big from the House of Dragon season 2, and been waited for nearly 2 years, and a lot of viewers has waited for this show to come up. But 2 years, and they totally messed that up. And my longing for the season 3 doesn't dip any bit by comparing to how I longed for season 2. And hope they would make a better comeback in the season 3, and we may love and we may get an epic finale in the upcoming season. So let's hope things would be fall better. And for this review I got a need to say it is slightly disappointing. And yeah, that's all. And now let's get into the review section where we can be able to discuss about the plot. And I am not going to spoil anything out there. But even in this case, if you don't want you want to watch this season whole throughout fresh, then do exit this video. And yeah, this section doesn't going to contain any spoilers being out there. So now let's discuss about the plot, and what are all the things which does works out well, and what are the things which doesn't works out. So let's get into the review on the story. And first I want to mention all the negatives which I do felt upon this season. And downright I got to need to start with the Aegon's 2 character. And while reading the Fire and Blood book, I actually loved his character on a whole. He looked really very different appearance wise or in attitude wise. He looked really very good and charming and really very strong in my eyes. But in this series, they have altered his character, and he can't be able to make a good decision, and he's not that courageous, and falling into the trap. And yeah, whole lot messed up at the very end of this season. And yeah, I don't know why they are taking an altered path for Akon's 2 character, and I'm not really very happy on what they have done to this character on season 1 itself. That is my only regret on the season 1. And here too, he doesn't look really very powerful in my eye. And am I the only one who is getting this feeling? I do thought Aegon 2 character is somewhat really very worthwhile and notable in the Fights of Heaven book. And yeah, I'm missing the character Storm down here, and I don't think they can be able to make this character any better in season 3. There is one big event is going to get involved in the season 3, which many of the viewers may love, but other than that, they totally butchered Aegon's 2 character whole throughout this season, even in the season 1 itself. So now let's talk about Damon's character. And after Viserys, Damon does have the best character progression by the very end of the season 1. And yes, there are a lot of characters like Rhaenyra and Alicent who does get a significant growth, but not compared to Damon. And every fans does started to love his character by the very end of season 1, and he does have a slightly an evil arc, and he does wanted to possess all the things which he does loved in his own way. And here all throughout the season, the only plot around Damon is just gets hallucinated in the Harren Hall, and everyone does know by the very end of Game of Thrones itself, by the very second season of the Game of Thrones itself, we do know how much cursed Harren Hall place has been, and there is no need for any introduction to this Harren Hall things, and they are actually making this dreams and visions really very repetitive. Even though I do know all the future events going to occur in the series, I can't able to infer anything from these visions, and everything has been really very boring without any direction, without any progression. It's been just shown to the viewers just to allot some screen time for Damon's character, and his characters are downright really very terrible. They totally messed up Aegon's 2 character and Damon's character all throughout the season. Really very bad about that. I felt really very bad. And the next thing is, let's talk about Alicent. By the very end of this season 2, no one would love Alicent's character. Okay, and yes, the other 2 characters, Aegon's 2 character and Damon's character, are not utilized really very well. But in the case of Alicent, her character has been totally messed up, and her decisions does started to change episode after episode, and you can be able to give some justification like they have been in a deep trouble, so she does behave like that. Later she realized, and she can be able to retain her integrity. Those things are really very vile excuses, and her character has been designed really very terrible in this show. And by the very end of season 1, I really loved her character, but in the season 2, she's really very disappointing. And yeah, she does look like a queen without any brain in her head. So yeah, I'm terribly disappointed with the Alicent's character, to be honest. I really loved her in season 1. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the other characters like Rhaenyra, Larys, Kristen Cole, and I really loved them here. But there is nothing special about them. These characters doesn't had any moments in the series, but they have done their part, and they look really very good with the allotted screen time which they possess. And a little bit of a spoiler being down here. By the very start of this season 2, we can able to see Alicent and Kristen Cole being involving in some intimate relationship, and I am really very confused right now. Which side Aegon need to support? This is the very reason why I do started to hate Rhaenyra in the season 1, and just because she does wanted to have a Kristen Cole as a whore, I downright hated her character. But here, Alicent is too doing the same, and yeah, this is a different perspective of storytelling where the scriptwriters does wanted to hate all these character, and they are just focusing on the plot and all the twists being involved in the series. But the script and the storyline and the screenplay are really very terrible in some of the episodes. So yeah, that's the main reason why I do feel the season 2 doesn't reach a vast amount of audience place in their heart. So yeah, that's the reason why I do hated all these things. And Corlys Valerian's interaction with the sun doesn't add anything to the storyline. And whenever they do started to appear on the screen, I'm literally mad, and there is nothing going to be get achieved by them by their conversations. And right throughout the series, it does look the same. So yeah, let's wait and see what their role is going to play and impact in the season 3. So only time can tell. And these are all the negative things which I do have had in my mind about the season 2. And there are some of the positive which I gotta need to list down here. I really loved Eamon's character, and in book I actually didn't loved him that much, and the show is taking somewhat an evil character arc around him, which I really very much loved them. And his presence is somewhat magnificent. And whenever he started to appear on the screen, he just started to control the whole conversation. So yeah, and really thoroughly enjoyed his character on a whole. And the showrunners had done a fair job to him in the season 1 and season 2, and impressed with their writing for Eamon's character. And some of the other small characters like Helena and Otto Hightower does manage to shine a little bit, even though they had a really very minimal screen time. They does manage to deliver really very good in terms of writing and acting. They are really very good in this series. And I really loved how the script writers does gave a lot of importance to the small folk people being out there, how the civil war has been affecting their day-to-day routine, and the characters like Hoog. I really very much loved his character, and I don't want to spoil anything. If I do mention things about him in detail, maybe I will stumble upon one or two spoilers. So yeah, watch and enjoy. And yes, these are all the strong zones. Eamon's character and Otto and Helena's character, and the importance they have given to the small folk people being out there. Even the Song of Ice and Fire book is does have a special place in my heart, because these books does care about the lives of the small folk people, and I really love to read the story in their perspective too. And the some of the episodes are really very good. The episode numbers are 1, 2, 4, and 6, which are really very good in my eye. Some of these episodes does deserve a 5-star or 4-star rating, but other than that, all other episodes are really very terrible in their execution. And the perfect episodes too does have some flaws in and around, but yeah. And these are the 4 episodes which is worth watching. And I do really enjoy that dragon fight too. I'm not gonna lie, that scene is being executed really very well through VFX. So that's all about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. What's your thoughts on House of Dragon season 2? Do comment down, and I will try to meet you soon with another great video on the next week. So until then, tada, bye bye. Happy reading to you all. Cheers.